Welcome to Psychic Frank's Mystery School. Thank you so much. And yeah, the shows are on YouTube. I'll be back. This is the 7th. It's the anniversary of, it was March 7th, 1965, Bloody Sunday. Um, yeah, that was the Edmund Pettus Bridge. John Lewis, Elijah Cummins were beaten half to death. Yeah, that started the civil rights movement, and actually, a lot was going. The big planets were in Virgo then, preparing us for where we are now. So, yeah, that's think about that. Uh, these people put their life on the line for freedoms now that are. Well, it's interesting. I was doing some. Early spring cleaning, and I found a shirt I haven't seen in years. Cleaned it up, washed it. I think I wore this in my first. I find a shirt and then I wear it all the time. So I gave the blue one a rest. And then, because I found this one, I don't know where it was behind something in the back of the closet, and I have such a small apartment, just a studio, a small studio here. But I managed to. I could be a hoarder easily, but I stay on top of it. Um, and I like clothes that are already broken in. I like that. It makes me feel I gotta be comfortable. Comfort is the number one thing. So I found this thing from 16, circa 2016, and it's New Zealanders' view on Donald Trump. This is before he won the election or took the election, whatever. Trump personifies everything the rest of the world despises about America. Then he goes on vulgarity on an epic scale, self-aggrandizement there, racism, crass materialism. The fact that so many Republicans are comfortable with that monumentally unqualified man in the Oval Office shows how warped the party has become. Yeah, it's warped, all right. And I saw in my last show, I took the courage to watch it, and there was I really got down on Neil deGrasse Tyson and um, that guy that died, the little crippled guy, the scientist who everybody thinks is God. He's the brightest. He's a moron, but that's another story. He's dead. Yeah, I was really hard on these people, and I guess I still am. But you don't understand. My motto is don't complain, don't explain. But you got to know. A lot of people don't remember Carl Sagan. See, that's a good thing about being 70. I remember Carl Sagan, and he made a laughing stock out of the supernatural, as terrestrials, um, and this is these and their science. This is science, because they can, have tangible proof. They can't find the soul. That's the whole thing. They've dissected the entire body. Put it in the soul, no soul there, So, but I digress. I digress. So, and as a kid, coming up in the 50s and 60s, I was always interested in astrology. As soon as I got out of rehab in 82, the first thing I did, my aftercare plan, was to take astrology classes because I was always fascinated with astrology, but always too messed up to, take classes and really learn about it. Yeah, I wanted to just be an astrologer, but then I realized I had other talents, much more special than just no offense, astrologers. But I use this. I'm a psychic who uses astrology and numerology for my accuracy. That's how I was taught, and it works. So and so. As a matter of fact, just to verify that I wasn't just pulling things out of the air, I typed in Neil deGrasse Tyson on what he thought of as terrestrial psychic and all this, and he was just being sarcastic. He's just really Carl Sagan, and that's not a compliment. I feel sorry for these guys. They sold out. they sold out for money, science, Well, as you can see, on my last show, I mentioned that uh, a national emergency is the pharmaceutical companies and the way they bombard TV with this information. It's sort of it's a interesting little thing I glued something to, and it's about the placebo effect. Every medical student learns, at least in passing, that the mind can affect the body. They learn that some people get better when they believe falsely that they are getting medicine. When patients get better by ingesting sugar pills, medicine defines it as the placebo effect. It's my friend, some founder of something, the perception effect, he calls it. I call it the belief effect, to stress that our perceptions, whether they are accurate or inaccurate, equally impact our behavior and our bodies. I celebrate the belief effect, which is an amazing testament to the healing ability of the mind body. However, the quote unquote all in their minds placebo effect has linked it by traditional medicine at worst to quacks or at best weak suggestible patients. The placebo effect is quickly glossed over in medical school so that students can get to the real tools of modern medicines like drug and surgery. That's where the real money is, cancer and all that. I mean, they're banking on it, it's sick. That's sick. That's right there. This is a grand mistake. The placebo effect should be a major topic of study in medical schools. I believe that medical education should train doctors to recognize the power of our internal resources. Doctors should not dismiss the power of the mind as something inferior to the power of chemicals and the scalpel. They should let go of their conviction that the body and its parts are essentially stupid and that we need outside intervention to maintain our health. The placebo effect should be the subject of major funded research efforts. And medical researchers could figure out how to leverage the placebo effect. They could hand doctors an efficient, energy-based, side effect-free tool to treat diseases. Energy healers say they already have such tools, but I am blah, blah, blah. Well, anyway, that was written a long time ago, and it's gotten out of control. And then you get people like Dr. Larry Dossey and that rest in soul Nikola Tesla, who believe that interplanetary communication is the way. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. Yeah, I did say that Uranus was going into Taurus, and it happened yesterday. On America's birth chart, all this Taurus energy is going to be there for 8 years now. So everybody at home, look at your birth chart. Oh, here it is. Taurus is 22 degrees. Taurus is America's sixth house cusp. So this is in our fifth house. See, fire signs. America's got a lot of fire. It's a fire. Five's a fire number. And actually, we have a Sag rising. And now, fire signs know they're going to win whenever they do battle. So they don't mind doing battle because they know they're going to win. And a lot of times when they don't have to do battle anymore, and a lot of time goes by, they miss it, and they have to pick some kind of a fight. They have to do something, use that fire just to know they're alive, just to feel that fire energy going through them. So you don't have to, you can make love, not war. You could use that fire energy now to be creative, the spark of life. Michelangelo goes from the finger of God on the Sistine Chapel to Adam. Fire, that spark of fire. Yeah, so, and the North Node now is 24 degrees today. Our Mercury is 25. It goes counterclockwise. So this coming week, as long as we don't look back, America's in good shape. It's got a powerful Mercury 8th house, North Node 8th house, Leo. And America's in a 5-year, and we're a 5 life path. As I was leaving the house today, I saw the verdict. I think he got like 4 years of Manafort. Paul Manafort got, instead of 24 years, which was what everybody thought he was going to die in prison, that's like a slap in the wrist. And the man is responsible for like, I don't know, thousands and thousands of deaths, because he colluded with. I can't keep track of all the countries, the fascist countries where the leaders of these countries kill their own people, and Manafort was part of that. I think it was Turkey or something like that. Yeah, and so boy, I don't understand that, and he lied. Boy. Anyway, oh yeah, stay tuned for Denise Dory. She'll be here at 6 o'clock with her show about San Francisco politics. It's called Liberal Buzz, and she's a fan of Frank Zappa, and I found a Frank Zappa quote. It says, quote unquote, modern Americans behave as if intelligence was some sort of hideous deformity. Frank Zappa. I love that. Yeah, take care of your mind, take care of your body. It's a temple. So anyway, yesterday we had the Pisces new moon. New moons are all about, every new moon's about pressing the emotional reset buttons. Of course, the moon represents our soul or our emotional, in essence. So whatever sign your moon's in, that's what your soul is. Like if you have a Scorpio moon, you're very deep. Pisces, Libra moon's like everything superficial, very light in air. Anyway, they're all good. They're all good because there's always a balance. So conjunct Neptune. So yeah, tune on to your dreams now. Mercury just went retrograde in Pisces. So and conjunct Neptune, it goes from 29 to 16 Pisces. So if you're familiar with your birth chart, look for those numbers: 29 Pisces down to 16 Pisces, and then it goes direct at the very end of this month, March 28th. Here in California on the West Coast, 6:59 a.m. So unless you really have to, you shouldn't sign anything during Mercury retrograde period. Anything you do during a retrograde Mercury period, you're going to have to do when Mercury, it's have to be redone. So now's a good time to turn that magnifying glass around. Backward, and magnify deep inside. It's a time to go deep, and also Vista, the pilot light, the spiritual pilot light's also in the mix. It's a whole slew of stuff going on with Pisces now. So use your imagination. That's what it's for. It's for healing. Those that don't heal, Dr. Bernie Siegel says, those that don't heal simply don't have the imagination to take. And Dr. Larry Dossi out of New Mexico, a friend of the psychic community, and his book, One Mind, he says, my message is that there is a way of recalibrating our collective response to all these problems that move, a move that then permeates a cascade of solutions, to fall into place. This approach requires rebooting our ethical and moral stance toward the earth and toward one another. See, like I've been telling people, and Degrassi and Stephen Hawkins, the dead guy who said extraterrestrials, if they exist to eat us. Oh, God, what a twisted soul. It's all about practicing loving kindness. When we practice loving kindness, we get rid of the weapons, the extraterrestrials will commune with us. Their total love. This is the densest planet in this universe. Every universe that has an Earth. This is it. There's other universes, and who are more evolved. Human life is more evolved. They're superhumans. Humans. That's why Carl Jung and we all agree there's nothing worse than the waste of human life. Without our full superhuman potential. It says, practicing loving kindness will be reborn. We will be reborn in celestial realms because of our mindfulness of morality. Celestial beings and humans will be kind to you. This is when you practice loving kindness, even to the smallest insect. We become so anti-insect because of the bug ads. You know, TV's a man, and they say, "Well, I'm not going to watch TV anymore." It's everywhere. You know, it's just these ads. You'd have to walk around with blinders, not to be seduced, penetrated by these madmen. These madmen. Well, see, they still believe that the universe is like Newton is clockwork. It's not. It's not clockwork. There's a fuzziness. That's what quantum. We don't appreciate the fuzziness. And until we do, we're in big trouble. Celestial beings will protect you. You will enjoy happy mind and much more happiness. You will not be harmed by poisons or weapons. You will achieve your goals without effort. You will take rebirth in celestial realms yourself. Even if you could not attain liberation, you will enjoy these 8 benefits as a result of loving kindness. And then this one Lama says, if you have loving kindness, celestial and human beings will adore you. They will come to you effortlessly. You know, you should do loving kindness just because it's what you should do here on Earth. You can't judge a society by how well the rich are doing, you know. But it's how we treat, you know, the handicap, the people working out some rough karma. By successfully completing a training on loving kindness, you will realize all the accomplishments of the bodhicitta there, generating the thought of wishing joy and enlightenment for all practice is aspirational bodhicitta, actually implementing, this is Tibetan Buddhism I'm quoting here. And then it says, this is important, and remember, if I'm going too fast, this will be on YouTube tomorrow, so you can go to Psychic Frank's Mystery School, and it'll be there. Because this is important. It says, 1, the aspect of opening our heart of loving kindness widely for all is giving or generosity. That's what it's all about, generosity. That's a good definition of generosity. The aspect of opening our heart of loving kindness widely for all is giving. Yeah, that's, yeah. Preserving loving kindness without letting it be stained by negative thoughts, emotions, or acts is discipline. You know, a schooled imagination. Thinking to yourself, talking to yourself is totally healthy. Just it's important not to let the conversation get cynical. And if it does, stop it right away, you know, and remind yourself there's something in your subconscious, and create a veil that protects you from, you know, to be one of the chosen, simply choose yourself, you know. Exerting ourselves in loving kindness with great enthusiasm without letting ourselves be swayed by laziness is diligence. So I know about laziness because I have a Venus, Neptune, and Libra. And that's the shadow of Libra. Venus in general, we have a lazy quality, you know. Will you start my orange for me? It goes way beyond that, you know. It goes down to... you know, but now that I used to be proud of being lazy. I used to sit around in bars drinking, talking about the joys of being lazy. I actually, in Guatemala, I was learning Spanish, and my this wonderful woman was teaching me how to speak what they spoke in that town. I was down in Panajachel, Guatemala, for a year and a half, almost 2 years. And I would jokingly, I said, "Lacioso," you know, and she goes, "No, don't say that about yourself." I said, "It's true." Yeah. I was not, you know, I was no denial. And now I work from morning to night, you know. I have a bird, a couple of birds, which are full-time, just keeping an apartment and, you know, doing my dharma. It's no place for laziness. But at least I'm not deceiving myself. I think my honesty made me realize that, you know, I had to, and my Tibetan Buddhist training, you know. Seeing and realizing the different stages of loving kindness as they are, particularly loving kindness free from concepts, is wisdom. So remember, practicing loving kindness, and you just do it. That's the paradox. You just do it because it feels good. That in itself is its reward. But then you'll find all kinds of amazing things happen, and you can't brush it off as a coincidence because you know in your heart of hearts it's the celestial beings. The veil is very, very thin between both worlds now. The hardest work you'll ever do in your life is feeling cut off. So just surround yourself by the love and light of one mind, whatever you want to consider your creator to be. And yeah, don't wallow in fear. You will only lose this opportunity for growth. Oh yeah, we're so yeah. I said there was going to be some sort of a signature event when Uranus entered Taurus. And what we got was nothing really. The cold front going, and rains and storms, mudslides, but nothing like back in May when Uranus went in Taurus. That was the signature thing there. So that was when Mauna Kea erupted for a few months there. There were rivers of lava going down Hilo, Big Island. So now what we got is 8 years of science. Uranus is scientific, years ahead of society. So I'm saying if Degrassi wants to stop making fun of higher consciousness and realize that there are extraterrestrials wanting to communicate us, but it's not going to be through any of these instruments or these billion-dollar science projects. It's going to be through higher consciousness. It's going to be through psychics, trans-channelers, and all that. Yeah, Tesla said, I don't think nothing could be more important than interplanetary communication. It will certainly come someday, and the certitude that there are other human beings in the universe working, suffering, struggling like ourselves will produce a magic effect on humanity and will form the foundation of a universal brotherhood that will last as long as humanity itself. We're going to take it right to the edge, but I believe we're going to. I can't believe that countless men, women, and animals fought for freedom, for it to just go by one horrible orange. What did Marcus Aurelius call them? A pustule on the face of the earth. But once again, we can't eat the menu instead of the meal. If Donald Trump and all his cohorts and this horrible family didn't exist, we'd have to invent them. Because, and I got, how can you separate spirituality from politics? Joe Biden's a nice guy, but, go away, Joe. Go away, enough with these center, right, center, left. We want all the way left now. We want to go all the way left. Elizabeth Warren had me in her corner right up until she did that stage thing about, said to her husband, hey, you want a beer? Yeah, get me a beer. Just what we need, Elizabeth. That no amount of alcohol is good for the human body. A global scientific effort was done. I'm not just pulling this out of the air. I'm up on all this. And they say no amount of alcohol is, because every other year the wine industry pays somebody to say, yeah, 1 glass of wine with every meal is good for your heart. By the way, who drinks 1 glass? Maybe 1 bottle is more like it. But anyway, so she had said, "Hey, you want to smoke?" Somebody asked her, "You want to smoke a joint?" She go, "No, I got some hash. You want to try it?" And I vote for her. Then that's my kind of candidate. And then there's Kamala Harris. And all I see is, as much as I don't want to see it, she's like that with Willie Brown. Suspiciously, she hasn't brought his name into it, but she wouldn't be where she is today without him. And I'm in here, San Francisco, and If you watch Richard Rants on cable access, watch his show, Richard Rants, and you could call his show and mention Willie Brown. Oh yeah, Willie Brown's responsible for Ed Lee, Gavin Newsom. He's what he says goes. Oh, God bless Willie, huh? Brush him with a brick, I guess. Anyway, I'm no fan. No fan of Willie Brown's. Anyway, a human being is a part of. Einstein said, a human being is a part of a whole called by the universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts, his feelings as something separate from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. See, when we're born, we have no ego. We're playing with our guides. The brain is the skull isn't fully hardened. And then we can't survive like that. So we at a certain, little 18 months or so, we have to say goodbye to our 2 years old. We say goodbye to our imaginary friends, usually 2 or 3. And then the ego starts. Yeah, the ego starts to develop. And then we reach a part somewhere between 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. It's very personal on your own karmic. But we reach a part where we start transcending the ego, hopefully. And in doing that, that small voice gets louder and louder, So what Uranus is doing now, you look, it's showing you like the symbol for Uranus is the 2 wiggly lines, like lightning flash, 2 rods of lightning. And it's throwing lightnings to get you on the right path. A lot of times people like Louise Hay, one of my teachers, may she rest in peace, used to say when she sees people for a private session, and then she sees them a month or so later, and she goes, "Hi, how's everything?" And they go, "Oh, same old, same old." She says to herself, "Wow, it didn't take for some reason." And then she does healing on someone, and then they call her 2 days later, and she says, "Wow, I lost my job. My husband left me." And Louise says, "Oh, it's working. How wonderful for you." Now, not that we condone, but it's like, okay, there's some movement here. And that's when you have to start really working on, okay, change is good. I'm always moving into greater good. Yeah, this is what I was saying. The quantum mechanics, the uncertainty principle, it tells that there is a fuzziness in nature, a fundamental limit to what we can know about the behavior of quantum particles and therefore the smallest of nature, unlike Newton's clockwork universe. So when you see Neil deGrasse Tyson on Colbert Show or any of these late night shows, he's a real celebrity, raking in the big butts, making fun of people like myself, And as I said, I'm 70 years old now, and I had to live through Carl Sagan and all those dark ages, and now I'm not alone, of course. My ego isn't that out of control. I don't think it's out of control at all, but that's another story. But we got like people throughout history, and like people like Larry Dossey, who, years ago, back in the 80s, when he started writing books in the late 80s, I found his books. And it was such a comfort to have somebody, Shirley MacLaine back then was had a mailing list, and I got on her mailing list. This was before the computer age, anyway. So let's look at some of the astrology. Oh yeah, what's going on with Donald Trump now? Let me pick some cards. Let's see what's going on. Donald Trump. Okay. Well, the North Node today is on his Venus. So today was not a good day for Donald. He's got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and now they're going after his kids. And everybody, nobody's surprised, and everybody who knows him, close to the insiders are all saying he's not going to be leaving in a helicopter waving, peace signs. He's going to rattle up his his Civil War tendencies. Yeah, he's going to, because he was even saying if he doesn't win in if he didn't win in 2617, the election there, uh, he was going to declare a riot or something. Yeah, he's a very sick person. On my last show, I was talking about. Uh, Practicing Presence by Carrie Walters about aspiring for sainthood. How it's really helps sainthood is not detracts from life, but enhances life, makes you live life more abundantly. Okay, victory. I keep on getting this all the time. Yeah, this is. We've got a long time before the election. Joe Biden, I wish he would just, in all respect, Joe, give it to the young people now. You had your day. You had your day in the sun, Joe. Enjoy your twilight years, enjoy your golden years. Uh, Go around kissing kids, be a diplomat, make them ambassador to something. But we need some young blood. Young blood. Okay, what are my client? What are my clients? Yeah, I guess you're my clients. What am I on this new moon? Press the reset button. Yeah, so look for 16 Pisces. That's where it's all happening. Neptune, Vista now. That's the asteroid. That's the spiritual pilot light. So we're 16 degrees is Pisces on your chart. Or you have any planet 16 degrees. It's forming an aspect. It's either a sextile, a square, a window of opportunity, or a flow. But either way, now, use your imagination. Don't waste the dream state. None of this Calgon take me away thing. With that said, now, collectively speaking to my viewers, what do we need to know about the paradigm changes that we're in the midst of? And first of all, get a lot of joy going. I always tell people when they call me with some hideous things going on, before we even get started, I tell them, take a deep breath and let's get some gratitude going here if we're going to get through this and yada, yada, yada. And usually I hear a dial tone because they don't want to hear that. And the ones that don't hang up on me rally. They understand there's a gift in here and Frank's going to help me find it. Yeah, because as I said, the way I'm down on pharmaceutical companies, I might also admit it, unless I get to an obscure cable show, no network, mainstream network, they're all endorsed and supported by pharmaceutical companies. So the chance of me even getting on the radio is, not going to happen in this life. But I couldn't sell out. I couldn't accept money for anything if it was being given to me by people that are killing people by raping their mind, telling them that the side effects from these things are insane. Okay, it says, Socrates says, sometimes you put walls up not to keep people out, but to see who cares enough to break them down. All right. So paradigm changes. What do my viewers of this show need to know? Because I know we all love America. We all love each other. That's why I'm going to get to this book, because you got to substitute the word love God, love your neighbor to care. Substitute the word love for care. Care for God. Care for your neighbor as yourself. Let's see what we got now. I'm going to do the 9-card spread and see. We've all got a universal. We all might have come on different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. And see, this is the shadow of the communication evolution, just like the industrial evolution brought us strip mining, air pollution, and everything else. We have the agricultural evolution brought us poisoned food, which we're dealing with now, that people don't seem to understand the connection between not clean food uh, and then we're so susceptible. We have generations now thinking bugs are horrible things that have no, they just need to be killed. They're ugly, disgusting things, and consequently we're running out of bees, and our insects are very important. This whole thing about kill, kill, kill. It's like snuff films, pornography where people get killed. They outlawed them. And I guess people just have this romance about, death. I don't get it. Thank God I don't. Okay, so collectively, what do we need to know? Doo-doo-doo. Okay, the wind's going our way now. Uh, we're going to have 8 years now of Mother Earth is a living entity. Mother Earth is alive. And yeah, so there's the strife all around us now. Yeah, collectively now, everybody's all. This is a 5 year for America. America, the 4th of July is 11. 4 and 7 is 11. So 11 or 2 plus 3, 2019 is 3. 3 and 2 is 5. So at America 1776 is a 5 life path. We had the year and date. We get a 5 life path, and we're in a 5 year. Yeah, we're going from children of God to adults of God now. I got the Page of Swords. So once again, the wind's going our way now. Um, I'm getting. We all like have had past lives together, or we all would be on the planet right now. There's a reason why we have an opportunity to really take some quantum leaps. Let me see what else I'm getting about, and then I want to do. We'll get back to the cards later. Oh, you have a question you want? Give me a call. I'll answer a question. Yeah, it's important now with Jupiter and Sagittarius this year. On our ascendant in our first house now. Jupiter's actually going to be most of this rest of this year until November in opposition in our first house, the United States of America's first house, in opposition to our Mars in Gemini. Yeah, our Mars in Gemini. So I was saying now, like this is the book about practicing presence, Carrie Walters. The spirituality of caring in everyday life. He says, my intention here isn't to disparage the me. We're talking about people think they know who their real self is, the true me, but it's their real self is not who they think they are. We are, after all, concretely enfleshed and uniquely tempered creatures who have to deal with a sometimes bewildering environment, and our sense of personal identity is one of the ways by which we cope. It's important and obvious. So your personality is going to change. Your personality is going to change. A lot of times, pain. A lot of times I deal with people and they're in so much pain. Guilt seeks punishment. Punishment seeks pain. A lot of times I say to these guys, where's the pain? They go, middle back. And I'll go, what are you feeling guilty about? And they go, wow, what are you talking, And I go, well, it's just you're not that person. You're not the person you were even yesterday. I did the best I could with what I had to work with then. I'm not that person. They are free. I am free. I forgive myself. Yeah, any kind of pain. The other day, somebody had his hands were all in a lot of pain, and he was feeling guilty maybe about not handling life the way somehow he thought he should be handling life. I don't know. Symbolically literate. Learn how to be symbolically literate. The universe talks to us. So it says. So most people don't aspire to be saints because they get the picture of suffering in a cave. They don't understand it's to live life more abundantly. In short, genuine sainthood both liberates us from syrupy piety and allows us to live more abundantly. You literally have nonstop mystical contemporary mystical experiences you can't even tell your best friend about. Like the other day, I was going out to buy bird food because I needed a certain bird food that I can only get way out of town in the outer mission somewhere. And and uh, and it stopped raining. It was a few days ago, and it was really raining. And I was on my way to get the J and on Powell Street, and there on the side, right down, and there was no one around, was $100 bill just laying there, and I picked it up. I thought it was one of those fake ones. I didn't look at it. I just put it in. I looked around. There was nobody around. I looked and looked, and I stood there for a minute, and I said, "Well, finders keepers." But I think that's once again celestial beings knew I needed a couple of dollars, and they just effortlessly put that and made the end of the month a lot easier for me. But that's just one little, all during the day. Yeah, you have these contemporary mystical experiences. So what we're doing now, as I said, is having these contemporary mystical experiences. And I've been doing this for like a long time, like 30, 40 years. It's not just passing some spiritual wind here. So it's all about when you see people like Donald Trump, you got to feel sorry for him because his guy's soul's got no home. He might have these pretentious, gilded cage, whatever he's living in. But he says that we live in authentic human beings only if we dwell in the clearing of the true self after we've discovered it. To dwell is not merely to squat for a while on an unsettled bit of land or an empty building, but to put down roots in a permanent home. Hark! Hello. Hi.
Hello?
Hi, who am I speaking with?
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob. Thanks for calling.
Listen, isn't it kind of spooky that the state channel, the symbols of the letters FOX equal the numeric value of 666?
Yep, and isn't it funny that the Madison Avenue property that Nazi Krishna is in debt to is 666 Madison Avenue. I'm so glad you said that, Bob, because I wanted to mention that on the show today.
Also, do you remember when Trump was asking how come you don't need an ID to buy food?
Oh, yes.
That speaks to the apocalypse, where it says you can only buy food, trade. You can only buy, trade, or sell unless you have the mark of the beast.
Oh, and Al Sharpton said when he went to Trump Tower, he said the darkest thing in Trump Tower is the light in the elevator.
Also,
Reverend Al said that.
You know what Trump could possibly do after he builds his wall, just like the North Korean wall, and he declares martial law and declares himself to be emperor and forces Americans to get the Trump loyalty chip on their forehead. That wall's going to be used to keep Americans from fleeing, like North Korea.
Okay, listen. See, remember I just said, conversations is great, but you're letting it go really cynical. I mean, that's I thanks for sharing, but that's really like the worst scenario. I'm going to be, Norman Cousins years ago, bless his soul, said, cynicism is intellectual treason. We don't need to put that out there. Yeah, it's well, you're more, probably not as old as I am, but I'm 70 going on 18. But the fact is people. I don't believe that two of my buddies died for this country, and it's for me to think for one magic moment that this turd, this tyrant who thinks that people fellow tyrants in Korea and Philippines are not are noble people. I mean, he's not fit to even breathe the same air as Robert Mueller, But see, people like him have been around since the Romans. That's why Marcus Aurelius said they called him a pustule on the face of the earth. As I said, it's important. See, what you're doing is you're eating the menu instead of the meal. The thing is now we understand that we have to squash this. A few months ago, last year or something, this guy sent me an email from the show. I don't know who he is. And he said, as I mentioned Donald Christ, I said it jokingly, is the Antichrist. And he said, is he really the Antichrist? And I said, no, he's a wannabe Antichrist. Oh, no, he's evil. There's no two ways about it. But I don't believe for one magic moment, as I said, that he's. Of course, Mueller's coming out. Mueller's going to come out with all kinds of things. It's getting really good now. What's more startling for me, Bob, is the fact that that Breitbart guy and all the close people now on the intelligentsia there are all in agreement now, east and west, north and south, right and left, that when the poop hits the fan, he's not going to take the high road and say, okay, I the better man won. Oh no, he's going to encourage fighting in the street. We're talking Molotov cocktails. It's going to be shoot 'em, bang bang. So this is what we have to work on now. But please, Liz, as I said, it's a free country. You could think what you want now, but that's totally, like I said, letting the conversation with yourself get a little too cynical, So for the sake of the world, keep it a little up there. What's your day and month of your birth, Bob? Oh, I guess he hung up. Oh, well. I didn't mean to rain on his parade because he seemed to be, that's like it's a totally possibility, because right now, that's a good observation, though. Yeah, 666 Fox News. But when you laugh in the devil's face, they disappear. Now's a time where we have to really focus on giving, or say, what kind of a faith, mediocre faith is during, a big test like this is where you need a strong faith. Realize if you have faith in evil, more faith in evil than you do in God, or your higher power, one mind. All these polls, I get around 3 calls a week from people wanting to, I'm with this poll, that poll. You know what you could do with that poll? Put that poll where, I won't take part of any polls, and I don't think I'm alone there at all. I don't think I'm alone there at all. But thank you, Bob. That's a great observation. There are dark forces at work. I studied with Tibetan monks that were over 120 years old, and they looked like they were 50. And the one thing they teach you is non-cooperation with evil as much a duty as cooperation with good. So when you're coming up with that horrible scenario, which is a possibility, I mean, if you can think it could happen. It really is happening in other fascist country, but not, remember Frank Zappa years ago, it can't happen here. Well, it's happening here, and with Saturn and Capricorn now is all about discipline, consistency, practical habits, take responsibility for a higher level and state of mind. When you get those thoughts of these possible scenarios, right away, I rebuke that thought and then move it up a few chakras and bring it up to the love place and allow the angels to come in. The power of prayer is so important. And laughter. Guilt seeks punishment, punishment seeks pain. Forgive yourself. To reconnect with the you can only be lived. There's 5 things you can only do for yourself: eat for yourself, sleep for yourself, move your bowels for yourself, urinate, and live your life for yourself. You could. All these religions just point to the way, but you gotta like. Jesus was Jesus, Buddha was Buddha, Frank will be Frank, you'll be you. Nobody will do it your way. There's more saints in heaven than there are stars in the sky. We shall require substantial new manner of thinking if humanity is to survive. But we can't have these thick margins around us. We have to have the permeable, dotted lines. So thank you, Bob, for bringing that point out. And 666, though, is 12, 18. 6, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18. 18 is 9. So if you look at it that way, completion, 9. There was a bar back in the 60s, an after-hour bar in the village called the Ninth Circle. It was a wild place. I am open and receptive to wonderful, good experiences coming into my life. Be open and receptive, and the universe will respond for your highest good. I am at peace. I accept my good just where I am, knowing all my needs and desires are being fulfilled. This is happening for America, not to us. This is definitely paradigm-changing stuff. And we have a terrible, it's so important now not to eat the menu instead of the meal, and understand that this nasty person. Oh yeah, like I keep on saying the last couple of shows, it's a beautiful sentence that says, without the feeling of love and without the faith and conviction that life in us is unobstructed, all the healing techniques of science are of little avail. We're not made to go it alone. You got your guides. All they need is your permission. Why are you afraid to work? Well, a lot of people are, life is miserable, but you know what? I'm used to it. Seeing the essence, potential in everyone, looking beyond the grubby, vile exterior. Somewhere in that pile of orange, toxic, whatever, there's a human being who never got the puppy, whose parents were Nazis. His father was thrown out of Germany because when he came to California threw his grandfather out because he wasn't even running a good house of prostitution. He beat the women and ripped them off and all that. So Donald Trump is nothing but pathetic. Everybody. Oh, I gotta go. Okay, time's over. Bye. I love you. I'll be back on the. Let's see. I'll be back on the 21st. Namaste.